Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Post-game, Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Boston Bruins in overtime, 5-4, in a game that had just about everything. No fights, but it had a lot of physical play, but it had just about everything else. As the Boston Bruins have a 3-0 lead in the game at one point, but can't hold on to win and lose 5-4. Razor, there is so much to get to. I honestly don't know where to start, except for telling you that Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, as always, is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Expertly roasted coffee for you at home, or if you happen to have a wholesale business, a cafe, a bakery, a restaurant, you can use it there too. They are an absolutely perfect, trusted partner. Whatever you want in your coffee business, they've got you covered. Light roast, dark roast, whole bean, they'll grind it for you. FazendaCoffee.com and FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew, the place to go to check out the Morning Brew blend, the Morning Brew baseball hats, and again, the Morning Brew Clean Canteen traveler mug. Thank you to Fazenda Coffee for being our lead in pod sponsor. Entertaining game, Razor? Highly entertaining, right? Right.
That's where I was going to go.
Okay.
Right away. We haven't had a lot of them at different times, and we got one today. That was fun. Both teams opened things up a little bit. They both pushed. That was fun. You can see the Leafs that they've gone to a defensive style, but they also enjoy playing in those games as well, right?
Yeah. That had the intensity that I understand it's the Leafs and I get it, but the start of that game for the Bruins had the intensity, the focus, the physical play, everything that you're saying they're going to have against Anaheim. And I know it's Anaheim and I get it, but it's human nature. But, and it's their first game back and all that stuff. But that's what I was hoping they'd have against Anaheim. They didn't. We know they got a point. But now you go out against Toronto and arguably play, if it wasn't their best first period, it was hands down one of their top 5 first periods of the season. The way that they executed, the way that they supported each other, the way that they had a cohesive nature to their game, Razor.
Exactly. They were very good. They didn't get spread out. They worked as 5 players. Again, in the back end, they're shorthanded, so they can't spend a lot of time in their zone. They didn't do so in the first period. They were breaking pucks out. They were chipping it out in proper areas and not giving any secondary opportunities.
So do you want to start from the beginning or do you want to go to the end? Seriously, I got notes that I literally took during the post-game show, as in so I don't screw up and forget something. I want to get through so much, but I don't want to be here for an hour.
I think, I think we go to the
this?
Where do we go to the end, because that's the important part. I get at this point is
you want to go to the 10:33 mark when Pastrnak gives them the lead?
Yeah.
You want to start there?
That's perfect. That's a perfect place to go, because up until then, they were good. They had lots of good stuff, and then they let their foot off the gas in the third period to come out the killer to go 3-2. Couldn't kill that. Robertson, a fine goal, good play, but then it's David again.
Okay, well, hold on.
We need to talk David Pastrnak.
We are going to. All right, we'll get to David. All right, we'll get to David, but let me guess quickly, and only because you're the goalie expert for obvious reasons. You talk to Robertson, you say fine goal. Is that a good shot that beats Swayman? And Barry and I were talking on and off air about where that spot is, where goalies are getting beat more and more. I'd like to see us save there, but I'm saying that I'll call it from a fan perspective. Give me from the goalie's perspective, if you'd like that too.
Yeah, it would have been a good spot. I thought he was out too far. I thought he could have played it a little more conservatively, maybe
give a little more depth.
Yeah, giving himself another split second to react to it. He was pretty far out. Didn't really say much about it after, but it was 5 goals against. So if you got to take one of them out of there to get the win, and that one would have done it for sure.
That was the Robertson goal at 6:40 of the third period. So we're at 3-3 right now. After again, the Bruins were up 3-0, and we can we'll run all around this because there's again so much you get to. But let's get to the 10:33 mark. The Bruins finally got some shifts after it was 3-3. It was like they got off their heels and they started to get a couple of shifts, and then they start getting pucks, and then they got the puck in deep, left wing side offensive zone. Morgan Geekie with good pressure, great pressure, in fact, on the defenseman McCabe. McCabe burps the puck up. David Pastrnak swoops in, supports it almost the bottom of the left wing face-off circle, and then he angles himself with a little swoop more towards, he gives himself, coming to the front of the net, not too tight to Stolarz. And as he comes off the goal line or off the bottom of the circle more than anything, Razor, I don't know if you saw, he brings his bottom hand up on the stick. Instead of keeping it low, he brings it up to kind of maneuver his hands to a spot where he can get the puck on the toe of his stick. And we think he used his eyes to look like he might pass over to Patra, too, there on the side. And instead, he smokes it up top over the shoulder of the big goaltender Stolarz, who had gone down. I understand why, but he'd gone down and he just left the top corner open, and he absolutely, Pastrnak smoked it up there.
It's there's only a couple guys in the world that can do that. I hope everyone recognizes that. It's he's done it and he's done it fairly regularly on that play. He's able to work that he's going to shoot low glove somehow. And guys, he just gets to a certain point where he gets past a point where you have to respect low glove. Like the Stolarz did a great job being patient. He's holding short side, but then David's able to get himself to the middle of the ice just enough where he looks like he's going to sizzle it low glove. And as soon as the goalie pulls just a split of an inch, David recognizes it and he puts it in the exact spot it needs to go. It's just so clever for a million other words, but he's just so smart with it, and his ability to maneuver, like you said, to change his spot, to make a goalie think is off the charts, and what a goal. Because again, that really wasn't a high danger chance. He made that all happen with his skill.
Made it happen, getting to the puck, obviously, but then I think creating space for himself, doesn't take a straight line, kind of opens or turns just to make himself give himself a little more room, maybe a half a second or a second more. And then as the rest, as you said, he did. Just a beautiful goal, unassisted. You'd love to see Geekie get an assisted, but he didn't touch it. It was the stick of McCabe that pushed the puck into that area. And Pastrnak gets his 30th goal of the season. Now, he had already scored couple of seconds, 29 seconds into the game to keep his scoring streak alive. So he's at 15 now, the longest one this season, still behind Phil Kessel for 18, but from some years ago. But Pastrnak has been remarkable in those 15 games. I think is it 30 points, I think, in that time? Is that right? 13 goals, 17 assists. I think Barry said that. Regardless.
Yeah, that's what because he had 3 tonight, right?
Yeah, 3 tonight, 2 goals and assists, MVP caliber stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so 10:33 mark, it's 4-3, and you're thinking, all right, you're up 3-0, you give up 3 goals, but you found a way to get back at it. You rectified the situation just enough. But then near the end of the game, I feel like, oh no, it's the inevitable train coming at you right now as the Bruins just can't get the puck numerous times out of their zone clearly, etc. And it wasn't just one play that led to the Holmberg goal. I think it was like a minute or 2 minutes of things that you're like, it didn't, like, the guys were getting tired. They just couldn't eventually get set. And it ends up being basically we'll call them the second unit. These weren't the top line guys, Razor, that were out there at the 19-14 mark, because they had been out before the Matthews, the Marners. This was Holmberg and Robertson and Ekman Larson. They contribute to it. It's a good play from Robertson off to the glove side. So the right wing side from the goal line, passes the puck quickly to the slashing Holmberg to the front, who zips in his 6th goal of the year. But I mean, disappointment is an understatement in my eyes, giving up that goal there to make it 4-4.
No, and I missed a lot of it because I'm running at 2 minutes, 1:45, but I'm hearing all the way through the tunnel, through the dressing rooms and out on the ice, the oohs and the ahs and and then I get in and it's just that for me. this is where you miss the two big guys on the back end for me. And the Bruins certainly have been far from nails last season, 6-on-5, and the year before, even at the highest peak of regular season play, they'd struggled. And but again, the depth of the back end gets affected at the last minute and a half of games, and Zadorov wasn't able to pick the puck up, and not only was he not able to get it off of the boards, he was beaten to the middle, which then just implodes any kind of coverage that you're looking to have, and keeping those guys out on the outside, and like the guys were talking about on the broadcast, the more that happens, it's just a matter of pucks finding their way in.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There just felt like an inevitability. And by the way, after he scored to tie it up at 19-14, the last 30 seconds or so, it was like the Leafs were there was a feel that they could win it right there. They kept it up. The Bruins couldn't get it out, and there was opportunities, and you're like, holy smokes. And just talking to Barry and I again, and talking to other guys, we had this feeling, all of us had the similar feeling that, oh no. Thankfully they got 1 point, but again, highly disappointing. Let's go to the overtime goal where Mitch Marner gets his 18th of the season after Austin Matthews swats the puck, neutral zone, leads Mitch Marner after, Mason Lohrei makes a really good play 10 seconds before, steaming down the right side. He uses his skill. He then cuts in below the circle, drives to the net, tries to take it by the stretched out Anthony Stolarz, who's 6'6", 240-something pounds. He's a mammoth goaltender. I mean,
he's huge.
I don't know. It's like the sumo wrestler. I don't know anything gets by him in net to begin with, right? Anyways, this one doesn't get by him, and then the puck ends up getting out. Lohrei gets back above the play, but then he decides to kind of step up to it's desperation 101 right there. It is desperate measures. He tries to eliminate the Marners and Matthews up there, but Razor, am I wrong? I just think that maybe that's where you maybe play it safe and you come back and you stay back in the middle of the ice. I know that kind of goes probably against what Lohrei is thinking. He's thinking, I just got to get to the puck. But therefore, he had no chance when he's swatting at it. If he doesn't get it all the way down past those guys and Matthews gets it, there's no chance for him to get back on Mitch Marner, who goes in on a breakaway.
Yeah, he had made a decision, and there was only one, there was only one outcome. Either it stays in or it was a breakaway. There was no in between. And it like you said, it was chaos. So I'm curious if it was just
maybe it's too chaotic for him to have that moment of
to really pause, like, I'm just going to pull back, and hopefully our guy, slow them up enough on a 2-on-1 to get a back checker in the mix. Of course, at this point, Mitch Marner is probably the worst guy to have it on his stick, for what he's had the last 10 days and against the Bruins this season.
So what? He had 10 points coming into this game in his 3 games. He had another 3 points in this game. So 13 points in 4 games this year. And oh, by the way, assist is on Connor McDavid's game-winning goal for Team Canada. I mean, he's
feeling it.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it against the Bruins. I don't feel like he's intimidated at TD Garden. I think he's feeling pretty good. How about the way he settles the puck down? He changes his hands on the stick to use the heel of his stick to flatten the puck because it had been floating a bit or knuckling a bit. He settles it down, and then he goes to a classic backhand forehand deke. Swayman is sprawled out. I think that's a hard read there, but it's also the speed and just the hands of Mitch Marner creates that opportunity to score.
Yeah, he got Swayman pretty good on that one, and it was easy once Swayman bit.
Once he's down.
Once he's down, I mean, there was no pressure, not enough pressure on him to really force it, and he just calmly put it in the back of the net and took the 2 points.
All right, real quick, just to run through this in case you get to watch the whole game. Bruins scored 29 seconds into the game. Pastrnak on the breakaway for Mason Lohrei. We'll talk about Lohrei's night after I quickly go through the box score here. Razor, it's 1-0, 29 seconds in. Fastest goal of the season for the Bruins this year to start a game. Marchand then on the power play. He gets his 21st from Pastrnak and Lohrei. Basically, as Pastrnak tries to hit him with a zip pass in front of the net, puck caroms off a leg or a stick. It goes off the face of McCabe, lands perfectly for Marchand after it hit the goalie Stolarz. He puts it through the 5-hole, 2-0. You go to the second period. Morgan Geekie, off of a beautiful power play setup, gets the shot from the left side. He's taken the one-timer side where Pastrnak usually is. Pastrnak goes over to the right side. Lindholm and Marchand with the assist. Geekie gets off the rebound. Just a gorgeous setup on the power play. Touch pass from Marchand off the goal line to Lindholm to the bumper, who shoots. Rebound to Geekie. His career high, again, continues as he gets his 19th. That's at the 10-minute mark of the second period. But then a goal by Morgan Rielly, who ended up having 4 points in this game at the 13:52 mark, gets the Leafs on the board. It went off the leg of Wotherspoon, who was in front of the net, deflects in. Marner then scores the power play goal to start the third period with 6 seconds left on the penalty kill that the Bruins had. It was a Wahlstrom penalty, a high sticking in the offensive zone. Have you heard that before, Razor? An offensive zone stick infraction? That's what the penalty was. The Bruins kill it off. Almost 6 seconds remain when Marner, what a shot by Mitch Marner, as he brought the puck in left side into the middle, beat Swayman up top. That was a gorgeous shot, I felt. He gets the goal. Tavares and Rielly on the assist. Then the Nick Robertson goal from the left wing side in the third period at the 6:40 mark, inside the left faceoff circle, beat Swayman below the glove, above the pad. And then we went through already the Pastrnak goal, the Holmberg goal, and the Marner goal. The shots in the game ended up being 29 for Toronto, 13 in the third period for them alone, 36 for the Bruins. They were outshot 13-9 in the third period. In the first period, Razor, the Bruins were great, 15-8. I mean, again, arguably, if not their best, and I don't remember every game out there, hands down one of their best periods. And I thought Mason Lohrei may have had his best period. It's funny, you put out best period of his career. I think I put out best period of the season for Lohrei in that first period.
He was awesome.
What'd you like most about it?
Well, I like he was just picking great spots to jump into the rush, and he was. You know, that's how he plays. That's how you can envision him playing defense. I'm not going to put him in the same category as the Makars and the Hughes of the world, but that's how they play defense. They play offense. They're not in their zone. They don't get hemmed in. They use their feet to get up the ice and put the other team on their heels and then make them change and dump. And that's the beauty of their defense. And that's how Lohrei is going to be successful defending in this league. There's not, the physicality part's just, not his thing. It can get a little better, but at the end of the day, it's him pushing pace. It's him moving and jumping into the rushes and putting the other team on their heels to not be in their own zone. And he did that perfectly. He didn't take any bad chances. He didn't take any unnecessary chances. He just took what was in front of him and skated and took ice.
First period, 3 shots, three blocks as well. Gorgeous assist, that pass from deep in his own zone to David Pastrnak after Zacha makes a real nice support play in the corner and then utilizes the front of the net pass outlet to where Mason Lohrei is. And again, at about the 25-second mark, he takes it, zips it all the way to the offensive blue line. I mean, just a gorgeous pass hitting Pastrnak in stride. And then Pastrnak finishes it with a low blocker shot. I think Stolarz thought he was going to go glove side again there. But Lohrei's reads in the first period, not forcing it, were excellent. Cliche, puck was finding him because he was always a step ahead. To your point, my point about the reads, he was there. He brought it to middle ice. He opened up seams for himself. He didn't try and force shots. He didn't try and make too many plays, stick handling. Really good first period. He did, he gave up a couple of things in the second term, but overall, I would rate it a very good game for Mason Lohrei.
I would too. He's playing a lot right now. He's in different circumstances where he might not be at this point, and he's learning from it. And again, I thought, he played a really good game for these guys.
22:05, 2 assists in the game, 6 shots overall. Again, 3 block shots. He ended up having 2 giveaways in this game. Speaking of playing a lot, let's go back to Pastrnak for a moment. Let's talk about him here before we hit our sponsors. 2 goals and assists, 25-39 in the game. 6 shots on net, another 5 attempts. He had 2 takeaways in the game. So he had a high-level game. Doing Hart Trophy worthy things for this Bruins squad, considering the support he has offensively is less than other teams where guys are, leading the way offensively. And look, if he had been playing this way all season long, maybe he had an injury early on. We don't know, but something was different, Razor. No question about it. He has looked so freaking good lately. Maybe he'll get some votes for Hart. I would love it. I would think the league, the people around the league, I just don't know if they understand everything he's doing, but the level he's brought has been, everything I hoped for, and I guess I want to say expected, maybe not the right way, but I said, we said before the season began, we think he's a 110 point plus guy. Well, he's not going to get there, but this pace, if this is what he was doing early on, he'd be blowing it away. And,
he's almost 60% he's in on 60% of the Bruins goals over the last 2 or 3 months. It's wild stuff. And it's 3 points every night or 2 goals every night. And now 15 game point streak. It's, and on top of all that, it's 25 minutes a night. It's defending. It's 200 feet. It's as much as 200 feet is for a winger. It's as impressive as anyone else that's playing in the league right now. It really is. And he's putting everything he has into this team and into this back half of the season.
Boy, is he ever. It has been impressive. Speaking of put everything they have into things, Graciano Construction does it. Let's hit our sponsors here real quick right now because they're important to us and we appreciate all they do. Graciano Construction does pour their heart and concrete. How's that? I'm trying to make a connection to construction.
Pretty good.
Into things that they do. Serving Boston and the Greater Metro West area, Graciano Construction is the contractor who will help you refresh and revitalize your space. I know they've been reached out to by some Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor listeners. And we're excited about that, and they are too. Check out their website, GracianoConstruction.com, or reach Doug Graciano and his crew at 508-330-7589. They will do any type of home project you have. They will make it tolerable. And sometimes home construction is anything but they do it. Doug and his crew are fantastic. They treat you with so much respect. They communicate with you, let you know everything that's going on. It is really a pleasure doing home construction with Graciano Construction. Check out GracianoConstruction.com or 508-330-7589. All right. And if you're stressed, maybe you're stressed from some home construction project, or maybe you're stressed about the Bruins, or maybe you're just stressed like me a lot. What do you think, Razor? Check out Sunset Lake CBD. I think that
100%.
would be highly, highly beneficial for people out there. This is a new company we welcome into the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor family the other day. You want to check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They're out of Vermont. This is a high-quality company. They do so many great things. I love whether it's the sleep gummies or the good night gummies. They're a little different. One has some melatonin, one doesn't. The Goodnight Gummy has no melatonin, and there's all this stuff. You can check out their website, and they've got Razor. They're phenomenal customer service too. You can give them a call, and they'll talk about the products that they have. They've got sleep gummies, Goodnight gummies, vibe gummies, tinctures, which the little vials. You can do little different things there, but they've got great products to help you relax after a tough day at work. Right? They've got topicals if you've got some sore muscles or you want to rehydrate the skin, whatever you want to do. But Sunset Lake CBD, they grow, harvest, and ship all of its craft CBD products directly from its farm in northern Vermont straight to your door. They're hockey fans, so they're just like you and me and everybody involved. So skip the lines and find your relief and relaxation at Sunset Lake CBD. And if your order's over $75, Sunset Lake CBD can ship your order for free. The other thing is use the code BREW20, BRU20, for 20% off your entire order at sunsetlakecbd.com. Razor, before we started doing this, I already took my sleep gummy and a little tincture because by the end of this, I want to get into bed so I can get at least a couple hours sleep. I'm getting up early to skate tomorrow if I can wake up. That's my hope. It's kind of stupid. Talking 5.5 hours sleep, but I know with the gummies from Sunset Lake CBD. I'll get a little bit. A little bit.
Love it. I passed on them tonight. And my cousin's here, so I got home and hung out with him. And then
Did you have a beverage? Did you have a beverage already?
I didn't even do that either. We just because I've got. I mean, again, the kids are up 6:30, so it'll be a quick sleep for me too.
All right. Well, folks, I'm telling you what, you'll love this company. So we thank them again for coming along and joining Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Real quick, Apex Entertaining. Which moment of the game was most entertaining to you? It was a fun game. Again, I want to talk about what the loss is, but and we'll get to that in a moment. So I'll get negative in a minute, so to speak. But overall, if you can take a step back, it had a lot of entertainment value to it.
Tons of it. You could, it's one of the David goals. The 29 seconds in was a lot of fun because you're in one. You didn't have to wait 45 minutes to see a goal, so that's always exciting. But we already described the go ahead goal with 10 minutes left was the apex, I would say, of the game.
That was the high point for the Bruins. The Marner goal, the low point. Apex Entertainment, 100,000 square feet of pure fun. That's the Apex Entertaining, most entertaining moment of the game. So how would you describe this loss? I would say, I said crushing on the post-game show. And given the fact, and the reason I use that term, I know they got a point, and I know they felt pretty good. We heard the guys talking post-game, and I know you were down in the locker room. I don't know how much sound you procured, or it was the other camera too and everything. But the guys were saying, well, we played well, and we did a lot of this, we did a lot of that, and I get all that, and I don't disagree. But given you had 2 points there for you, up 3-0, and then up 4-3, and then given Razor the fact that all the other teams around you, Detroit, the Columbus, the Rangers, all win, I look at this as a very, very bad loss, giving up a point. I do, given the situation where they're in. I'm not saying that there's no chance for them to make the playoffs. I'm just saying it's kind of felt to me crushing, given what they had done in this, how well they had played. It made it even harder for me seeing them get this loss. How would you describe it?
Yeah. It was good that they weren't as negative in the room as maybe I thought was going. I didn't really know what to expect going into the room. Of course, I'm just kind of on my own down there.
Yep.
I didn't see the meet. You're not around anybody. I thought they said the right things. They had the right attitude. They thought that they played well, which I agreed with. Again, that at that point, and probably still haven't looked at standings or anything like that. That's they're typically not doing that. So
we have the advantage of that stuff. Like we know what's going on in game. I'm just talking about how everything around that, like, it screamed, take it, win this, and they didn't. And that to me was just it was just incredibly disappointing. Yeah,
and I think you just you kind of look at the last 4 games and you just wish they had 3 or 4 more points. But, I think on the other side of it, that as players, they have to get ready for the Islanders. And you talk to Brad, it's about, nothing about the past. And to do that, you have to take positives and leave negatives behind. And that's what they're trying to do right now. And again, it could have been worse. Both games could have been worse. They scored a 6-on-5 and they gave up a 6-on-5 over the last 2 games. So
13th 6-on-5 goal they've given up this year.
Yeah. So that's a lot. And again, they've had a problem with that. And there's going to be, if they don't make it, they're going to miss it by 5 points, and you're going to easily find 6 points in the season that they could have had to get themselves in. And that'll be frustrating at the end if that's the case.
Surprisingly, Maple Leafs have given up 12 6-on-5 goals this year too.
There you go.
They've only scored.
My guess is 13 is, My guess is there's a lot more than people think. I mean, the goalies are getting pulled with 5 minutes left. So even when you win these games, you're giving up empty net goals, right? So
Yeah.
there's more that,
Um,
there's a lot.
well, 6-on-5, Maple Leafs now have 2-4, 12 against. The Bruins 6-on-5, 2-4, 12 against. 5-on-6. Let's see. I don't know. I'm looking at all these numbers, these goal situations. Too many. It's too much numbers too late at night. Maybe the gummies are kicking in. I'm not sure. Negative in this game, Trent Frederick got hurt too. Frederick gets hurt in the second period as a hit by Jake McCabe. He went down, looked like lower body, as a bit of a sprawl, like the legs flailed and not splits, but went out. Hard to say what it is, but I mean, here you go. Here's a guy who knows what's going to happen coming up, UFA to B. We know that the Bruins are listening to everything and stuff, and he could be one of those guys. But more than anything, regardless of that, is you can't afford to get another injury to a regular guy. You're already down a couple of guys.
No, that's it. Exactly. And you saw that as the game went on, not having a third line essentially. That played into this, and that's why David had to play 25 minutes, because there wasn't that option. That even though Freddie hasn't had the best offensive season, he's very reliable and responsible and can be put in all those situations against the best players in the league. And you miss him in that situation, and you hope that it's not again another good solid player with a long-term injury at this point.
It feels like what's your take quickly on like the fourth line hasn't, I don't know. They're not getting going lately at all. And that's been a big difference from the beginning of the year when they were excellent, but I'm not even trying to compare to then. I'm talking like it's changed. It's changed a lot. They're struggling, aren't they?
They're really
I think
struggling.
so.
They're dash 2 again tonight. Feels like every time they're on the ice, they're in their own zone. And they're getting hemmed in their own zone. They haven't been able to get a forecheck. They haven't been able to use their speed. They're missing passes when they do. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, they've struggled. And that's important. Like,
Yeah,
they're very important.
yeah, and I don't know what the solution is there, because I'm not sure. I mean, can you call some guys up from Providence for that role? Some of the guys that you've seen before. I kind of feel like it needs a little bit of a shakeup. Wallstrom gets an opportunity. He's on the third line in this game. He only plays 5:45, 11 shifts. He takes that penalty late in the second period. Razor was scratched. They wanted more speed. I don't know how much more mixing up of the lineup there really is left to do. But it feels like to me, again, I'm looking at that fourth line now, that the third line, if Freddie's hurt, now you're really in a world of hurt, I guess, pun not intended, but now you're in your bottom six are struggling now.
Yeah, and they're obviously they're trying to find something, and they haven't been able to do so. And you got to imagine, if it is Freddie and there is more than 2 or 3 days of an injury there, that somebody's going to get a look, and someone's going to get tossed right into that bottom six to switch it up.
All right, let's run through. I'm going to take like 3 questions. We had a bunch come in, but there's just so much that happened in this game that it's hard, to do too much, and it's getting late. So let's just rifle through a few of these questions, all right, from comments, from questions, in no particular order, folks. Promise you, we'll do another show where we just take all your input, because we really do appreciate it. Mike Crosby says, can you realistically see Brad Marchand being moved by the deadline? And if so, what would be a fair return? Could you see him being moved? I'm going to say I don't think so. I just don't think so. But I do think that people will call about him, Razor, if he's not signed by then. I think people will say, a couple of teams will reach out to Don Sweeney and his staff and say, are you thinking? Well, what are you thinking there? But I don't see him getting moved.
Yeah, all of that. I agree. I think, he got 2 points again tonight. He played 23 minutes tonight. We just talked about, where the lineup is right now. If you don't have him, I mean, so yeah, I just don't think we've talked. It's so hard because we don't know what the market is right now, but we've talked about this the last 5 deadlines on this show. Is there's a lot of times where the value that some of these guys have for you is a whole lot more than what any other team would consider, and in those cases, deals don't get done, among a bunch of other things with Brad.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of other people asking, "Hey, or got any Matt? Like, what would it take to get in return? What would a return look like?" I mean, are you doing it for a second round pick in a prospect? No, I mean, it's got to be more than that. It has to be more. That's what I would think. It would have to be we really don't have a choice not to do this deal.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, me too.
Here, a guy named Eric Larry says, Billy Razor, first time out. Andrew, thanks for talking me off the ledge all year. I'd say the same thing too. For the most part, you talked me off the ledge. Is this season the result of many bad things at once? The holdout, the knee of Lindholm, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Are there foundational roster issues on this team? They need some new players, as far as I'm concerned. They just do, and I think it's pretty clear, that there's going to be another. There's more movement, new players that came into this season, I think, than some people thought or we realized. I think there's going to be some significant roster change for next year, Razor. No matter what. If they find a way to make their way into the playoffs, doesn't matter. I still think you're going to see 6, 7, 8 new players come in here, and I think you'll see a different main player to make their way in.
Yeah, they're going to have tons of money, and they're going to have tons of options on players over the summer. So certainly that's going to happen. But I'm going to go. I really truly believe this team was built from the back out, and the Swayman thing. Obviously, he hasn't hit the level that he's been at the last couple of years, but he's been good at times and good enough. I'm going to the injuries. If Charlie doesn't play anymore, he's playing 50. He might get to 60 games at best, very, very best this year. So he's missing 25 plus, and Lindholm misses 65. And it's just that the team was built to have those guys in the lineup. The D was built to have those guys, and they were built to be cooking at this point, to be able to go and reach out for a forward later in the season. And that just hasn't been able to be done because of what's gone on the back end. And so I'm going to continually go there as the reason, first and the biggest reason, the largest reason.
Here's one from Real Bruins fan. Real Bruins says, does anyone keep track of what percentage of the time the Bruins retrieve the puck on their dump-ins? He feel like this year I've seen the Bruins dump the puck with no chance of getting it back more than ever before. Are they trying to run the dump and chase and don't chase? I don't have that number. Yes, puck retrievals are kept. There's no question about it. They keep every analytics right now. But I will tell you this. They were much better in this game on their forecheck, especially if you compare it to their Anaheim game where they got no forecheck. We talked about that there. It was minimal. And then in this game, it was much more noticeable. Part of it, I think, is intensity, effort, determination. Part of it is puck placement. Part of it as well is goalies that handle the puck well and not. And the Bruins sometimes don't do a good job of keeping it away. But Real Bruins, I don't have the exact number for you, but yes, they do keep track of that stuff.
Yeah, they would have that. The Bruins would know exactly where they're at on that. And again, if you score goals and if you push the D back, all that other stuff kind of falls into place as well.
Yeah. But let me get one more in here. Let's see. I'm trying to get one more good one. Here we go. Mason Lohrei. Do you see him adding more physicality to his game, or would you like to see that with the absence of Charlie? TBD. This is from Mason Valley. I mean, you already brought that up.
Yeah.
There'll be some physical, but
it's not Charlie McAvoy physical.
No. One more. Ben Warren says, Don Sweeney talks about calling people up on a merit-based basis. He talked about that in our pregame. I don't know if you caught that as well, Razor. It seems like some of these guys in Providence are having great years. At what point will leaving them down there impact confidence? If everyone else thinks they deserve the call up, but leadership doesn't, I don't know about. I mean, Ben, I don't. You know, what does Lysell have? 9 goals, I think 10 goals on the season. I mean, I don't know if is anybody having what you would call a great year. You know, who's having I think a very good year is DiPietro, the goaltender down
Yeah.
there. Seems
Yeah.
to have established himself real well. I can't think of a defenseman that they'd be calling up. You know, they already have Osterley up and Callahan up. Forwards, it's Merkulov. I don't know. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that this team needs to make some moves at deadline. They need to replenish their system, and so they have guys that they can call up. More guys, Razor.
Well, and unfortunately, the AHL is kind of a different place than it was. To what everybody thinks at times. You know, a lot of the kids that are really exciting for everybody are in college or in juniors, and they have 1 year of AHL or 1.5. And if you're down there a long time and haven't been called up, it's because you're not doing exactly what's expected. So please don't, just because you read, you know, or see a video online that says someone's really good in the minors, like, if you put, and just for reference, like, if you put any of the guys that that you think aren't playing well in the NHL right now, if you put them in the minors, they'd score 50 goals with their eyes closed.
Right.
Like, that's how good the guys in the NHL are. And you know, I think that's it really does get lost, and I understand that, I get it, but the merit based is, you need to do a lot. You're not just given the NHL. The NHL is just not given to people. It's really, really hard to make it, and you have to be big, and you have to be strong, and you have to have a skill set that's just better than everybody else's. And unfortunately, I don't think we would have seen it by now if
they
that
were
was
ready
there.
for a call.
If
Yeah,
it was here, if someone was ready, we would have seen it by now. And the fact that we haven't, you can't completely just go against the organization like they don't know what they're doing. Like, there's a bunch of really smart people in this organization that have done a lot of hockey and know hockey, and unfortunately, you know, again, 9 goals in the minors, you know, again, the guys that are up here right now that you think that aren't doing a good job would score 9 goals in a week and a half down there.
Yeah, and I'm just pulling it up because, as I've said many times, sometimes my mind goes on me a bit. Yeah, it is 9 goals. He's got 9 goals and 20 assists, 29 points this year. So I was right about that. He's had a nice season and at times shown some good stuff. And Merkulov's had a nice season, but it's different. Their roles are different. Now it'll be interesting to see again if Frederick's injured. I don't think Wahlstrom will be in next game, given what he did do and what he didn't end up playing. So there's 2 spots right there. You would think Brazeau takes one of them, but then you're going to have to call somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna. It'll be interesting to see who ends up getting the call. What could emphasis with Freddie a third line spot if he's not able to go. All right, Bruins lose. They're now winless in 4. They're 0-2-2. Again, I go back to some of those games, the Vegas and the Ranger game before that. Those still bother me. They do. Those are crushing losses too, because you're up in those games. You're up 3-0 in this one. You give it up. It's hard, man. It's hard. I'm not finding a silver lining, even though they played beautifully for a lot. I'm not. I need to see this team finish it off. Anything else you want to get to? We talked some Sway. We talked Pastrnak. We talked Lohrei. We talked what else? We talked the power play looked real good. I mean, two goals. I mean, nice. That's a nice. The penalty kill was real good too until that Marner goal that he was able to get the puck from. Was it Matthews? I think that kind of slapped it and he brought it into the O zone, and then that great shot. But otherwise, the PK was real good in the game.
Yeah, they did for being down on the back end. They grinded those out, and yeah, they were 6 seconds away from getting a kill. They just missed getting it out. Matthews made a nice pick play, and then Marner's, you know, you just can't give him you can't give him an inch out there. He just creates.
What are they going to do with him? I don't want to get into a big conversation. What are they going to do?
He's going to make a lot of money.
He's going to make 12, 13 mil somewhere.
Yeah, at least, if not more, with the salary cap. It's crazy. And he does. I mean, you can argue he deserves it. Like, if you get an opportunity to have him, he's going to change your regular season. That's for sure.
Boy, I wonder if he'll want to stay there. They're not going to move him at the deadline. We know that.
No.
But he's UFA to be. It's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening with him.
It will be.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
and he's got, an interesting
Yes.
circle,
Yes. Yes, he
which
does.
will
Right.
also, add a lot of drama to this.
All right, Bruins lose. Razor, you and I will be back after the Islanders game. The Islanders come in their last 6. They got shelled against the Rangers. I think the loss was 5 or 6-1 in that game. They're 1-5-0 now in their last 6 games coming in. No Matt Barzal. Sorokin didn't look great. I read this evening, but the Bruins, hopefully they don't have a lull like they did against Anaheim. Come out like, because
they
if
got
they
to bring it every
do,
night.
they got to bring it. You got to bring it.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. All right, we'll be back after that game. Maybe take some more of those questions that you brought in. Thanks a lot, folks. RC, thanks for everything. Thanks to our sponsors, Apex Entertainment, Graciano Construction, Sunset Lake CBD. I'm starting to feel nice and mellow. Starting to get ready for a little nighttime. Check them out. And as well as always, Fazenda Coffee. All right, we'll talk to you after Thursday's game. Hopefully the Bruins get a better result. Try and enjoy your coffee.